The real fucking Wild West. Gunslingers, outlaws, and blood soaked legends that Hollywood couldn't handle. Listen up, you sorry bastards. Forget the polished cowboy bullshit from Hollywood. The Wild West wasn't a bunch of clean cut heroes riding off into sunsets with moral high ground. It was a savage, lawless shit show where men carried iron because the alternative was getting your throat slit over a poker hand, a whore, or just looking at the wrong prick the wrong way. We're talking post-Civil War frontier hell from the 1860s to the 1890s. Boom towns exploding with miners, cattle drivers, gamblers, and killers. And at the center of it all, the gunslingers. Cold-eyed motherfuckers who lived and died by the revolver. These weren't noble knights. They were violent sons of bitches. Some wore badges, some robbed banks, many did both depending on which side paid better or who pissed them off that week. Life expectancy for these trigger-happy assholes? Brutal. Average violent death around 35 years old. They didn't have fancy quick-draw contests at high noon like in the movies. Most shootouts were drunken bar brawls, back shootings, or chaotic street melees where bullets flew wild, bystanders ate lead, and the winner often died puking blood days later from infection. Let's start with the king of the quick-draw myth himself, Wild Bill Hickok. James Butler Hickok, that long-haired, buckskin-wearing prick. Civil War scout, stagecoach driver, and stone-cold killer. His most famous duel? July 21, 1865, in Springfield, Missouri, against Davis Tutt. They squared off like something out of a dime novel. Hickok put a bullet through Tutt's heart at over 50 yards. One clean shot. Rare as fuck. Most gunfights were messy as hell. Wild Bill was a gambler, a marshal, and a self-promoter who loved the spotlight. He claimed all sorts of kills, but reality was closer to a handful of verified ones. Still, the man had balls of steel. He survived ambushes, fought bears, supposedly slit one's throat, and cleaned up towns like Abilene and Hays City. But fame got him killed. Sitting in a saloon in Deadwood, Dakota Territory, August 2nd, 1876, playing poker with his back to the door. Rookie mistake. He took a bullet to the back of the head from Jack McCall. Dead man's hand, aces and eights. Poetic justice for a legend who lived by violence. Hickok didn't go down in a blaze. He got murdered like a chump because everyone feared the reputation. Then there's Billy the Kid, Henry McCarty, alias William H. Bonney, a scrawny, baby-faced little shit who killed his first man at 18 and racked up around 21 kills by age 21. He rode with rustlers in the Lincoln County War, a range war that was basically rival gangs slaughtering each other for cattle and power. Billy escaped jail multiple times, gunned down deputies, and lived like a rat on the run. Sheriff Pat Garrett finally cornered and killed him in 1881, ambush style, in the dark. Billy was a ruthless killer, not some misunderstood rebel. He shot people in the back, stole horses, and raised hell. Romanticized as a folk hero? Bullshit. He was a teenage sociopath with a six-shooter in a world that rewarded it. Jesse James, now there's a celebrity outlaw. Confederate guerrilla turned bank and train robber with his brother Frank in the Younger Gang. They hit banks, trains, and stagecoaches, killing innocents along the way. Jesse played the Robin Hood card in the newspapers, claiming he was sticking it to the railroads and banks screwing over farmers. Truth? He was a murderous thug who loved the money and the myth. Shot in the back of the head by his own gang member Bob Ford in 1882 while adjusting a picture in his house. The dirty little coward who shot Mr. Howard, as the song goes. Ford wanted the reward and fame. Jesse's death turned him into a legend bigger than his life. Don't sleep on John Wesley Hardin. This Texas psycho claimed over 40 kills, and by most accounts, it wasn't total horseshit. He started young, shooting a black man for crowding him on a street or some petty shit. Escaped prison, killed lawmen, rustled cattle, and once shot a guy for snoring too loud in a hotel. Hardin was fast, vicious, and unrepentant. He eventually got gunned down by Constable John Selman in 1895. Again, ambush. These guys rarely died facing their enemy like honorable duelists. They died scared and paranoid because their rep made everyone want to be the one who took them out. Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, the dynamic duo of the OK Corral. Tombstone, Arizona, October 26, 1881. The most famous gunfight ever, and it lasted about 30 seconds. Earp, his brothers Virgil and Morgan, and the consumptive, gambling dentist Doc Holliday faced off against the Clanton McLaury gang. 3 cowboys dead. Earp walked away mostly unscathed. It wasn't some epic standoff. It was a personal beef over cattle rustling, politics, and who ran the town. Doc Holliday, dying of tuberculosis, was a mean drunk with a quick gun and zero fucks. He once said something like he'd rather die with his boots on than in bed coughing up his lungs. He got his wish later. Earp lived to old age, became a celebrity, and consulted on Western movies. He wasn't some flawless lawman. He was a gambler, pimp adjacent, and involved in shady shit. But he had ice in his veins. Other deadly pricks: Ben Thompson, a gambler and killer who terrorized Texas; Clay Allison, who once dug up a grave to prove a point and danced with the corpse or some insane story; King Fisher, flashy dresser who died in an ambush; Tom Horn, hired gun and alleged murderer who got hanged; Bass Reeves, a black deputy marshal who captured or killed dozens. Yeah, the West had black gunslingers too, despite what some sanitized tales say. The reality check, because I'm not bullshitting you. The Wild West wasn't non-stop bullfights. Most towns had gun control. Check your iron at the city limits or get fined. Actual face-to-face quick-draw duels? Maybe a handful documented. Most violence was ambushes, barroom stabbings and shootings, range wars, or drunks blasting each other. Dime novels and Buffalo Bill's Wild West shows sold the myth to Easterners hungry for excitement. Real life was dirt, dysentery, boredom, and sudden death from a .45 slug or bad water. Gunslingers carried Colts, single-action Army revolvers, the Peacemaker, reliable but slow to reload; Winchesters for rifles. They practiced constantly because missing meant you died. Many were ex-Confederates or Union vets hardened by war. Their frontier attracted the ambitious, the desperate, the psychopathic. Native Americans got fucked over in this expansion, but that's another brutal chapter. The government policies fueled the chaos. Why did it capture our imagination? Because it's raw American-eyed. No safety nets, no HR departments. Men settling scores with lead. Honor, revenge, greed, survival. In a world of pussies clutching pearls today, the idea of a man walking tall with a gun on his hip, ready to die or kill for respect, hits different. These gunslingers were flawed as fuck, racist by modern standards, violent drunks, opportunists, but they embodied frontier freedom at its bloodiest. The era faded with railroads, telegraphs, statehood, and civilization creeping in. By the 1890s, the open range was closing. Gunslingers either retired, got respectable, or ate dirt. So next time you watch a Western, remember, the real ones didn't have soundtracks or plot armor. They had shitty aim half the time, whiskey courage, and a short, brutal life. Billy the Kid dead at 21. Wild Bill murdered at 39. Jesse James at 34. They burned bright and died mean. If this fired you up, smash that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment. Who's your favorite gunslinger and why? Want more on specific outlaws, range wars, or how the myth got built? Let me know. The Wild West lives in the stories we tell, the raw, ugly, badass truth.